Tests are important. Writing clean code is the best thing you can do as a programmer. But clean code without tests isn't complete. It's like riding a bike very carefully, but in almost complete darkness. It doesn't matter how careful you are, you will hit something at one point. Of course, writing tests doesn't excuse not writing clean code. If I had to choose between clean code and tests in a project, I would choose clean code, but it's not an easy decision. If a developer wrote bad code, but he also created decent tests, half of his programming sins are forgiven. There is a concept called tests pyramid. It states that in your project, unit tests should be predominant. Unit tests are tests done at the method level. You test your method in isolation for all the use cases it might encounter, ideally with parameterized tests. I like parameterized tests because they encourage you to test a lot more cases than you would normally do. According to the test pyramid, besides a lot of unit tests that are the base of the pyramid, your project should also have some integration tests that are the middle of the pyramid. In integration tests, part of your application is actually running, or even your entire application. You want to test how different parts interact with one another. Real databases might be used. These tests take longer to write and execute, but require more effort than unit tests. On the plus side, they cover more of the system's final behavior. At the top of the pyramid sit a few end-to-end tests. End-to-end tests are done on a complete running system. These tests are very expensive in terms of creating, maintaining, and running. For a long time, I didn't agree with this test pyramid. I thought it should be reversed with end-to-end tests at the base. What is the point of having a lot of passing unit tests if your system is crashing? I thought only end-to-end tests can guarantee a running system, so they should be focused on. But I was wrong. It's true that end-to-end tests are the best guarantee your system runs as expected, but they are also hard to maintain and run. It takes a huge effort from the team to keep a lot of them up and running. Eventually the team just gives up or becomes incredibly slow and frustrated. Remember the viscosity symptom of bad code. It's the one where it's very slow to do anything because of the environment your code lives in. Unit tests, on the other hand, are incredibly fast. They run in a few seconds, as opposed to end-to-end tests that run for minutes or hours or even days in big projects. It still beats days, weeks, or months of manual testing, but we are no longer living in the past to discuss that. Unit tests are also a lot easier to maintain. For these reasons, they are easier to create, debug, and run. If a unit test fails, you go directly at the method level and debug. If an end-to-end test fails, you might not even be able to tell what module caused the problem. Unit tests also don't fail from random inexisting problems. I faced this a lot with end-to-end tests. You can also run unit tests in an instant when working on a fix. You don't have to wait minutes. I also recommend test-driven development. In TDD, you first write the test, but just enough to have it fail. After that, you go to your class and write a small piece of code just enough to have your test pass. You repeat until the user story is finished. It's not easy because you will be slower on the short term. It takes a lot of discipline. I will confess I'm still struggling with maintaining such a level of discipline. But on the mid and long term, it's the best way to write code and saves you from a lot of headaches.